as I been trying to warm up my car for the last 5-10 minutes or so, listening to the radio. I don't have any of those fancy kind of satellite radio or anything like that. It's whatever the city is providing and is in the air, that's what I'm listening to, or not. All right, so it is New Year's Eve, 2025. Um, I was thinking, I'm paying attention to what's going on with AI music and things like that. And I'm also coming out of, I guess, hibernation in a way. Now, I'll just say this: I am a singer songwriter. I'm also in a few bands. And I know a lot of people are like, well, what have you been doing? I've been performing in bands. I'm not necessarily been writing. I do have music that needs to be recorded that I've written. But quite honestly, I had ideas about my music at least 10 years ago that now things ironically are ready for me to be able to hash out. But comes the sweet, comes the bitter, right? The advent of AI, artificial intelligence music, has in this saga with Suno and Udio and Universal now and Warner Brothers have partnered all up, and this is what I believe is going to happen. Okay, so let's give you the rundown first. So Suno and Udio are these generative, and this is very, very important for me to say, generative. That means they had to learn from a source, and the source is why they were being sued. So they were being sued, no longer though, because I think, dark forces have now signed up to make all the money, right? All right, so they're being sued because in order for them to have what they had, make music, and all you had to do is type in some words, they had to go find source material, and they were being sued by at least the major labels. And there is a class. Um, they claimed that these companies, these AI music companies, used is copyrighted, and independence, which also is copyrighted, but indies, we don't necessarily have like a let's just say it, a money hungry company backing us that wants to recoup their money, right? Um, with enough resources to sue. Um, so they were being sued, Udio and Suno, being sued because they basically used. Now, what they were claiming, the AI company saying, was that, oh, well, it's supposed we are allowed to use it. It's fair use, fair use. And this is the thing where I think a lot of people don't understand what fair use really means. Okay. And this is a perfect example, which I think they knew, because I think they were playing the long game, and the game that they're playing was what they got is basically bought out by these majors. But anyway, they were claiming fair use, meaning you can use material as long as it's for educational purposes without any repercussions. Okay, so they're saying, oh, we have to teach our machines how to make music, but they didn't tell the other part, that they were also going to charge people for their services. So that's the, so is it legal? Is it ethical to train on somebody else's music and then basically turn around and charge a group of people to use that information? And that's what they were being sued about. Um, and so Udio settled first with Universal, and then Suno settled with Warner Brothers. Okay. And I think, again, I feel like this was all planned because now, at least with Suno, because I'm just going to be honest, I did look at Suno. I tested it out because it's very limited, quite honestly, based on what I can do as a songwriter or a composer. I was trying to get it to do stuff, and I was like, this is garbage. I don't like, I didn't care for it. It just did not have what I needed. And the fact that in order for me to get what I needed out of them, I had to give them some of my music. But then the catch is, once I give them my music, they have a right to my music. Not only to learn further, but to also give to other people. And I was like, no thanks. No thank you. So those are the things that once I saw how limited it was, I was like, this is no thank you. And then I'm not going to offer up my music and my talent, teach your machine, when really, no thank you. So this is what they are trying to do now. Like, let me try to make it as simple as possible. So they're still going to have tiered accounts, and this is back to Suno. They're going to have where people can make songs and send them out to people as memes or whatever, and it's going to have, I guess, watermarks or something on it, so that they can't necessarily take it off of the website, which I'm kind of laughing only because the people rip stuff off the internet all the time, even if they have to do a vote, like a crappy voice recording from their phone. They're gonna find a way. Okay, but there's that, and then they're still gonna have the other tiers of people who want to write with this tool. But this is what I also think it's gonna be like it is already a licensing kind of thing, but it's gonna be more legit. And I also feel like it's going to be more expensive to license, right? So I'm trying to think of a good equivalency. Say if you were renting a car, right? Okay, you're renting a car, you're licensing it out. Somebody's leasing it to you. You're borrowing it. You got to take care of it. You can't do certain things with it. You damage it, you got to pay for the damages, right? So they're going to let you use it, but as long as, and this is what Suno already had in it, but as long as you have a subscription to their services, you can use it. But the moment that you cut out and you stop using their services, then you don't have any more right to that music that you made with them. That doesn't seem very, I don't know. That's definitely, when people talk about deals with the devil, that to me sounds like a deal with the devil. No, thank you. So, is this the death of creativity? I mean, I don't know. You have to ask yourself, when things like in the next 4 to 6 months, I guess, when people start to realize what the real new terms of service is for these companies, because there's that part. Then this is the other part that I don't know if a lot of people are talking about. I could totally see how the record companies, because they're already doing it now, how they're going to recoup copyright claims, things like that. I don't think, this is what my belief is, I don't think that anybody who makes something with these companies will be able to copyright. Because if the labels are going to now be a part of this, it's their stuff. That's why everybody wants catalogs now. It's their stuff. So you can't claim a copyright on this stuff. The labels can. The only thing that a songwriter or a prompt music writer can do is not even, you can't even have like, I mean, you could sell the prompts, I guess. Um, are those copyrightable? I don't know. But the music or the outputs themselves, I don't think they'll have any access to that as a copyright. So DC now, what's really going to happen is like they're using the brain power of the imagination of people, and they're taking it. They're taking it and they're going to use it. They're going to say, "Oh, I didn't think about this," because I'm also seeing all these mashups that are kind of interesting. That unless you were like a DJ or something, or some kind of audiophile, music savant, composer, that you wouldn't have thought about, like these interesting mashups of styles of music, like Indian music and reggae music, right? Um, there is, and it's all through AI right now. Okay, um, there is these ideas, so that makes me wonder about the prompts. Like, are the prompts going to be copyrightable, or because I mean, you're giving it to them anyway, so they're going to have them. Are they also going to, I don't want to necessarily go into the terms of service for Suno or UDO. I'm sure there's somebody out there that would do that, but I mean, I just don't want to waste my personal time going through it when I know I'm not going to be using it like that ever, quite honestly. Um, Not for my personal music. I don't see myself. Like I said, I went on there, tried to get an account. I was thinking, oh, I can do this, and it was like, it's super basic. It really was super basic, and unless I am willing to give up some of my talent and my creativity as offering, basically, into the machine, then it wasn't gonna give me too much. And I'm like, no thanks. I don't want to do that. Right? So this is what I think the future of music is going to be. It's going to be really interesting. There's going to be a lot of upset people because, of course, nobody reads the terms of service. They're going to think, oh, we're going to make all this money. We're going to make this music. It's going to be awesome, until these companies start recouping their stuff. They're going to be putting the copyright claims on them themselves. The moment you put them out there to wherever, just like they do now, say like on YouTube, they're going to want you to, you know, they're going to copyright claim your stuff. They'll probably let you keep it up there because that makes them more money. Again, using your creativity to make them money. But yet, I've talked about this, for years. How about how people say music is not important, the arts isn't important, blah blah blah, get a real job, this and that. But they go through such lengths to steal from artists all the time. I mean, the last 5-10 years have been nothing but piracy, up and through all kinds of ways. And now with AI, it just makes it a lot easier to do in so many ways. So, I mean, I do have some sketches out there, and I'm worried. I'm probably going to move them over to somewhere more secure. I'm not saying that I'm super brilliant or anything, but I don't like people stealing from me either. Nobody does. If you put your hard work, you had a vision for something, and I just, even as of yesterday, somebody who is like a prop maker, she made this book nook. I watched her video. and it's gorgeous. And then she, somebody in, who follows her let her know that somebody ripped you off and they're selling these now. And she isn't at all. She's, she was like, what? So it's wild out here. It's wild. And all some people want to do is just make money making things. And like, we're not out here, like, I don't want to be like out here just, you see me every 5 seconds. No, I don't want that. I never wanted that. I like making music. I like performing music. And I don't necessarily want to be out in the world like everybody sees you, everybody, like, you can't walk in the streets without somebody saying something to you. Now, every once in a while, and that was years ago. I mean, now it's different because of, the Rona and the shutdowns and all this stuff. That, it's been what, 4 or 5 years now since I've performed live, except for like a month ago, and nobody knows who I am, and I'm okay with that. Like, I like making music and having my life and walking around and nobody's bothering me. I'm totally okay with that. Okay, I think an interview that Sia did, she is the perfect example. Like, she's like, I just want to be able to go to the store without somebody trying to, like, whatever. And she's got, her groceries, and she wants to live her life, make her music, and live her life at the same time. Perfect. Okay, I'm pretty much the same way. I want to go to the store, go to a restaurant, eat some food, go, whatever, without anybody bothering me. I'm not looking for fame, because fame don't pay nothing, okay? That's the other thing of this. That's why I guess when Spotify started getting more popular, I totally was like, this is not for me. Where you get a fraction of a penny, and you've got to have thousands upon hundreds of thousands of streams to even get something. Like, even with, okay, so when Snoop Dogg realized that he wasn't getting nothing, and what's her name, Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift, they weren't making anything until they had to renegotiate some deals with Spotify. You knew something was going down with that. And that's why, yeah, I do have things on Spotify, but I'm not depending on that. I was making money doing other things as a musician, right? So again, I was busking. I was working for the city, which I need to go revisit that, okay? Because I was making some money. That's what I was doing in the real world. I wasn't trying to get streams and stuff. I was like, so I don't know. The future of music. I mean, more people need to get outside and make real experiences for folks, okay? Or write real, like, don't depend on the computer to make regurgitate. That's the other thing that I feel like is going to happen. It's going to be like this endless regurgitation of copied music upon copied music upon copied music. Like, I'm just going to be honest, because I studied music history and music theory, I already know that certain styles of music are dependent on certain elements anyway. So that's why it's the genre that it is. But if you do that and compound it on top of AI, it's gonna end up being like, what is this? Right? And yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. And I wonder how many people are willing to sacrifice their own creative spirit, their own creative freedom to feed the machine, basically. Are we willing to feed the machine? I don't think I am. I don't think I ever really was. So that's why I was kind of tiptoeing around it, and I was like, let me see what's going on here. No, thank you. I don't want to feed the machine. I don't want to do that. Okay. All right. So happy New Year. Um, Make sure you check out my newsletter, because maybe that's where I'll be doing a lot of things at the newsletter. I'm also, I have a podcast over there at the newsletter too. So, and speaking of Spotify, I just realized, I was like, oh wow. Um, so I have 3 episodes over there right now, and I was like, I didn't know it was going to go onto Spotify, but I do have it over there. So there's that. Um, but yeah, Happy New Year. Have a good one. I'm going to make a fire cider. As a singer, I need to always be on top of it. That's the advice I give people. Always be ready to perform. Okay? You don't need the AI robot voices that sound like they're in a tin can, because that's really, I'm gonna start telling people this is how you know it's AI. If it sounds like it's in a tin can, it's AI. Okay? All right. With that, have a good one. Take care. Subscribe and all the things. Okay. Happy New Year.